Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be doing another episode of The Better Choice where we look at previous years of the Oscars and see what won, and I'm going to give you what I think should have won the Oscar. And we're going to be talking about Best Picture. We're going to see what movie won the Best Picture Oscar for every year and what I think should have won. I'm going to do years 2012 to 2023. Make sure you leave your own thoughts down below in the comments because this is personal opinion. No one's ever right, so just leave who you think should have won down below in the comments. But let's get to the year 2012. All right, in 2012, the nominees were The Artist, The Descendants, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, The Help, Hugo, Midnight in Paris, Moneyball, The Tree of Life, and War Horse. Some of these I haven't seen, like The Descendants and Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. So those are the ones I haven't seen. I haven't seen some from other years too. Don't expect me to have seen all these movies, but I have seen most of them. And you know, The Artist was the winner of Best Picture for that year. And do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it. I think The Artist is an okay film. You know, a lot of people in that time period, 2012, 2011, that must have been like a masterpiece to them. But if that was released this year, I don't think it would have done as well critically compared to like other movies. Because, you know, it's a silent film. We all know how those movies do. You know, Babylon kind of depicts the same thing in like a very different way, but it's kind of like telling somewhat of the same story. I do like some of the technical choices with this film. Cinematography is excellent. The acting is very great, but, you know, it's not what I would have chose to win this one. The Help is another great movie that released this year. We have a lot of great movies that released this year. We also had Hugo from Martin Scorsese. I always forget that this one is a Martin Scorsese film because it just doesn't really feel like a Martin Scorsese film because he usually does like crime thrillers, gangster mobster movies kind of movies, but this is a very interesting one. I like the technical aspects of this one too, but I think the story isn't really it doesn't really work for me too much. Midnight in Paris is a very interesting one. A lot of people like this one. I didn't really care for it. You know, I like Owen Wilson a lot. I think he's very funny in the role, but I just didn't like the story that much on that one. Moneyball, though, amazing film. You guys know how I feel about Moneyball. One of Brad Pitt's best movies in my opinion. I just love this story. Even though I'm not like a huge baseball fan, sometimes I turn on like some games. I usually watch a couple games of the World Series, but this story is really great. I love this team. I love the true story, what was going on, how they're like shaping this team in this movie. I really loved it a lot. I think it's one of the best of this year, or maybe the best of that year. I think it was awesome. The Tree of Life, I think it's good. War Horse, some people really hate this one. I think it's one of Spielberg's most underrated films. I do like it a lot. But, you know, The Artist, as I said, I don't think it should have won Best Picture this year. What I think should have won was Moneyball. Such an amazing movie. I love it so much. It's easily rewatchable, too. I just love the cast. Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill, they do great with each other. And, you know, Chris Pratt also has a small role. Love the movie. Love the story. So I think that Moneyball should have won Best Picture in 2012. All right, now we got 2013, which was actually a pretty good year. We had Argo, Amour, Beasts of the Southern Wild, Django Unchained, Les Mis, Life of Pi, Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, and Zero Dark 30. The ones I haven't seen from this year were Amour and Beasts of the Southern Wild. Hopefully I'm saying that second one correctly. You know, sometimes I get the names wrong. But the winner of this year was Argo, and let me just say, I don't agree with it. I don't think Argo should have won. Argo is a great movie, I would say. Ben Affleck did a great job at making this movie, directing it, and also starring in it. He does that a lot, you know, he directs it and he also stars, and I think he does a great job at both and all the films that he directs. But I think this one was the safe choice for the Academy. I think the Academy does that a lot. They just make the safe choice, but they don't go for a risky choice. This was a great movie. Safe choice for them to pick it, and they picked it. It won. I don't think it should have won. Django Unchained, on the other hand, amazing film. I think it's my favorite Tarantino film. I love the story. I love Jamie Foxx's performance. I think it's my favorite performance from Jamie Foxx. Also, Leonardo DiCaprio has a small role. Loved it so much. And I just think the movie works so well as a whole. The pace of it is so great. Whoever was the cinematographer in this one did an amazing job. I think it looks beautiful. Life of Pi. Life of Pi is one that I don't like that much, like story-wise, but I think visually it's a visual feast. I think it looks amazing, but it's not one that I go back to. I haven't watched it since I first watched it many years ago when it first came out. Les Mis, I'm surprised that Les Mis didn't win because Les Mis is one of those films that I thought would have won, you know, because it's like a big film. big like kind of musical type of film. And you had Hugh Jackman, you had Anne Hathaway. It's one of those big type of movie. I was just surprised it didn't win. I wonder what the votes were like for this year, because it's pretty interesting. Lincoln, Steven Spielberg was also behind this one. You know, Lincoln is one that I don't watch too much, but I really like to watch some parts from it, because I think that some scenes are really amazing in it. Though the pace is a little too slow for me compared to other Spielberg movies. Daniel Day-Lewis, though, can we just applaud him for this performance? He really captured what kind of Lincoln was like, I guess, and like what Lincoln looked like. You know, he looked like Lincoln, I would say. It was cool to have like a whole movie about like some tidbits of Lincoln's life. I think that was pretty cool, but I wasn't really too interested in it, but I think that some scenes are really excellent in it. Silver Linings Playbook was a first watch for me just a couple weeks ago. And you know, I heard people saying that they were loving this movie. It's one of their favorite movies. I thought it was good. I thought it was very good. The performances were awesome. I just didn't care for the story or script as much as I would want to. You know, I loved Jennifer Lawrence's performance in this one. It's very good, but you know, it's not one of those amazing movies that I'll probably go back to many, many times. Zero Dark 30, I'm surprised it's got a nomination. I think it's pretty good, but it's just not a movie that I would expect to get nominated for Best Picture. So those are like nominees for 2013. Those are my kind of thoughts on it. As I said, I don't think Argo should have won, even though I think it's a great film. I think I have it as an 8. But I'm really just basing this off what movies I have rated the highest, in my opinion. If I have it as a 5-star, I'm changing it. You know, that's just how I'm going to do it. It's personal opinion. And, you know, I don't think Argo should have won. I think Django Unchained should have won for Best Picture 2013. Just an amazing film, a 5-star from me. I really loved it. So 2013 should have gone to Django Unchained. 2014 was also actually a pretty great year too. Our nominees were 12 Years a Slave, American Hustle, Captain Phillips, Dallas Buyer Club, Gravity, Her, Nebraska, Philomena, and The Wolf of Wall Street. You know, the nominees this year were pretty good. I like pretty much all of them. The winner was 12 Years a Slave. Such a profound, amazing film, but a very hard watch. We can all agree that this one's a hard watch because of what it's talking about, the true story that we all had to watch unfold. And, you know, it's one of those movies that I think is a good watch, you know, to learn about what these people had to experience, but I think it's also a hard watch because just everything that's happening in the movie. And I think 12 Years a Slave has an amazing cast, really an all-star cast. Everyone brought their, you know, A game to this one. The script was great, and I gotta say the story, it's heartbreaking, but I think the story worked a lot. American Hustle is one that I really don't care about. I don't think it should have got nominated. It's just not that great in my opinion. Captain Phillips, also a great true story. Tom Hanks gave a legendary performance in this one. I don't think it's one of Tom Hanks' best films. I think it's a little too long for me, but I still think it's really good, and I think it did deserve this nomination. Dallas Buyers Club, also, I think it's a pretty good film. Matthew McConaughey, he gave an all-star performance in this one too. Jared Leto also gave a great performance. Yeah, I do think this one should have gotten nomination too. I think it did deserve it for the story that it was told. Gravity, on the other hand, I'm going to give a hot take right here. Gravity did not deserve a nomination, and Gravity is not a good movie. I could rant about Gravity for so long. I just hate Gravity. I really do. I don't get the hype around Gravity. I don't know why people love it so much. Sure, the cinematography is great, but I just don't think it's good. It just made me sick to watch it because of all the camera spinning and all that, and I didn't care about the story. I didn't care about the characters. I just think it's a stupid movie. I don't like Gravity. If you like it, cool. I respect you. Have your own opinions, but I just didn't care for it. Her, that is an amazing movie, amazing science fiction movie. And Walking Phoenix is, of course, amazing in everything, but I think this is one of his best performances of all time. I really did enjoy his performance in here, and I think that it's cool that this got nominated because I would have never expected Her, a movie like this, to be nominated. You know, it's kind of out there for the Academy. Kind of weird at times. You all know some of the scenes in this one, they're pretty odd, especially because the technology in this movie, it's pretty cool. Nebraska, it's pretty good. I like it a lot. Wolf of Wall Street, though, amazing film. Might be my favorite Scorsese flick. It might be one of my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio films, and I love it so much. So 12 Years a Slave, I'm going to say I don't think should have won the Best Picture for this year, even though I think it is a profound film, really great film, really great story to be told. But, you know, my pick would have been The Wolf of Wall Street. I just love The Wolf of Wall Street so much. I don't like, you know, people saying that you can't like The Wolf of Wall Street just because of what Jordan Belfort is like. You know, he's a crazy guy. I'm not trying to be like Jordan Belfort. I just love the movie. I love what Martin Scorsese was doing with this movie, how he stylized this movie, how he cuts every scene. I just love love it so much. So I think The Wolf of Wall Street should have won Best Picture for 2014. All right, 2015, the nominees were Birdman, American Sniper, Boyhood, The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Imitation Game, Selma, The Theory of Everything, and Whiplash. The only one I haven't seen was Selma, and the winner was Birdman. We're going to talk about Birdman right now. I think Birdman is a very good film. I think it's I think it's like a 7.5 or an 8 for me. I'm not really getting all the hype that everyone else is, but I do think it's really good, great film, and I love the style that they were going for with this one, because some of the shots in here are just so stunning, and I love how they're going for like kind of like a one-shot kind of film. There's not many cuts in it, but you can see, they're hidden cuts. There's like probably a decent amount of cuts. They're just very hidden because you go to a black space and then you can cut the film. It's kind of like 1917 in that way. I love all the performances in this one, and I love kind of the style they're going for this one. The story, though, it didn't really work for me as a whole. I do like the story. I just don't think it's an amazing story. I think that it does slow down a little bit in the second act for me personally. I do like the first and third act a lot, though. I think the ending is really cool, really interesting, really weird, kind of like for the Academy. Some people think that the Academy doesn't like weird movies a lot, but I think Birdman is kind of weird at times. The third act, especially the ending, it's really profound how it ends. So I think the Academy actually went out of their comfort zone for this one, which is pretty cool. I don't think Birdman should have won. We're going to get to the one I think should have won pretty soon. American Sniper, I think it's fine. I don't really get, the nomination for this one. It's okay. It's just not really one that I'll ever watch again. Boyhood by Richard Linklater, pretty good film. It's really great. It's pretty interesting story how they filmed it all. They're really going for him growing up like in real time. They're just waiting to film in like every single year. They took like breaks to film it. This one took a filming process of 10 years or more, I think it was. I forget, but it's just such a cool film how they made it like that, made it like so real. I think it's great. I don't think should have won. The Grand Budapest Hotel, it's one that I think maybe should have won, but it's still not the one that I would have picked. Grand Budapest Hotel, though, is my favorite Wes Anderson film. Love the style, all the purple. Purple is like one of my favorite colors to be used in film, so that's one of my favorite things for this one. The Imitation Game is probably my favorite Benedict Cumberbatch performance. I loved him in this movie. I think he did a great job. The story is also so interesting, even though I probably didn't understand half of what they were saying or talking about in this movie. I think the story is awesome. Selma, I haven't seen it, can't really give my thoughts. The Theory of Everything. Theory of Everything is very good. I love the story, but I just don't really see it winning Best Picture. But Whiplash is one of my favorite films of all time. Love it so much. I just can't believe that a film like this was made. Damien Chazelle is just such an amazing filmmaker, and I just can't believe he did all of this with this film, because this started as a short film for him and then he made it as a big feature film. And this has become like a cult classic for everyone, because not a lot of people saw it when it first released, but everyone's seen it now and everyone just loves it. It's like such a perfect movie in my opinion. It moves so fast and I just love it so much, and I just think that it really works a lot. J.K. Simmons is just terrifying in this movie, but in like the best way possible. I just rewatch this one like every year, twice a year. It's so good. It gets really dark at times, which I can feel it, and I just love what Damien Chazelle was able to do with this movie. So Birdman, I don't think should have won. I think Whiplash should have won Best Picture for this year. It totally deserved it. 2016, the nominees were Spotlight, The Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, and Room, and the winner was Spotlight. Spotlight is one that I first watched a year ago, and wow, it just blew me away how great that script was and how amazing the movie was. You have that whole big cast, Rachel McAdams, Mark Ruffalo, and even more people in it. It's just a lot of great people in this movie, just bringing their A game to this one. I really enjoyed this one a lot, and it does, it tells a difficult, subject that some people don't want to hear about, but I think it told it very well. So I think it's an amazing film. The Big Short, I rewatched that one recently and it just keeps going up for me on rewatch. It's such an interesting film. I really am understanding the stock market is so much more. And this one also is kind of a hard story. The housing crisis, a lot of people lost their homes and all that because everything that was going wrong. I loved the script in this. Such a smart script, such a fast-paced movie. Loved it so much. Christian Bale gave such an amazing performance. I loved him a lot in this one. Brooklyn is one I haven't seen, so I can't give my thoughts on that. Mad Max Fury Road, possibly one of my favorite action movies of all time. Love how it moves so fast. I love the camera work in this movie. The editing is so crazy. We're going to get the prequel, I think, next year with Anya Taylor-Joy. I cannot wait for that. gonna be so good. Tom Hardy was amazing in this. We did hear that there was some on-set drama with this movie, which is so interesting because it's such an amazing film, but that just shows how, how different a final product can be compared to like filming. There can be drama filming, but it's just so amazing anyways. The Martian, I think The Martian is one of Ridley Scott's best movies. Ridley Scott's had a lot of movies throughout his years, but I think this one just goes up there because it is based off a book, but Matt Damon is awesome in this movie, and I love the soundtrack, and this one has a couple great songs in it, and this one is paced really well. I think it's about 2.5 hours, but the pace really works for this one. I love the story about it too, the whole book, how he's just stuck on Mars and he has to just create a life for himself. I think that's cool. The direction was pretty good by Ridley Scott. As I said, I think it's so underrated. I think this one I just enjoy so much more on every single rewatch that I watch it on, so I really love it a lot. The Revenant is one that I first watched just a week ago, and the story is just insane. Insane how this is a true story, but I know how some of it is changed for the movie. You got to change some of the elements to make it a movie. But let me just say, the bear attack is crazy. I was not prepared for that bear attack because I haven't seen that clip at all. I've heard people talk about it, but that scene is just crazy. Leonardo DiCaprio versus the bear, the bear's fake, but it just looks so real, everything that's going on, and him shooting the bear and all that. I wasn't prepared. That movie is just so crazy. It makes me, that movie, it feels like Red Dead Redemption. That's what that movie feels like, and I love Red Dead Redemption, especially the second one, and it feels just like the second one. The opening in the second one in the winter, I loved it so much. I thought that movie was, it's a slow burn, but it's meant to be a slow burn, so because you go on this character journey, this odyssey with this character trying to get back to his people, to his tribe, kind of like to his group. And he has to go through the winter. He has to kind of climb in the carcass and sleep in a carcass to stay warm. He falls down a mountain into a tree. So intense. Holy crap, this movie is intense. A small score, but it sticks with you. Really great film. And a room, I guess you call it. I always like to say The Room, but it's called Room. It's a very emotional film. I think it's a great film. I don't think this one should have won, but I'm happy it got nominated. But Spotlight, I was happy it got nominated, but I don't think Spotlight should have won. Even though I think it's amazing, I wouldn't have picked Spotlight. The one I would have picked was Mad Max Fury Road. I just love this one so much. It did so much for the action drama category, and the genre of action kind of needs some more amazing movies, and this one just, it's so good. All right, 2017, the nominees were Moonlight, Arrival, Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, La La Land, Lion, and Manchester by the Sea. I haven't seen Lion. The winner was Moonlight. Moonlight, everyone says it's an amazing film. This is why it won Best Picture. This is also the year we had Moonlight versus Best Picture. Who won? Who didn't win? We had that big dramatic moment on stage, kind of unfold, kind of a crazy moment. One of the most famous Oscar moments, I would say. Moonlight, I think, is really good. I love the story, love the performances. I don't love it as much as some other people do. So as you can tell, I don't think it should have won. Not in my opinion. It's not what I would have picked. But I get why people love it. Arrival, very happy that this got nomination. One of my favorite science fiction movies. Denis Villeneuve did so amazing for this one. I'm so surprised Blade Runner 2049 didn't get nominated for its respected year, because that movie was even better. But I'm happy Arrival did get nominated. So good. Fences, I think it's very good. Hacksaw Ridge, though, one of my favorite war films. A lot of people don't love it as much as me, but that's to be expected. Some people don't love a movie as much as you, just like how I don't love Moonlight as much as others. Hacksaw Ridge, I love it a lot. Hell or High Water, I'm surprised it got a nomination because I don't love it like a lot of people, but I think it's okay. Hidden Figures, a great film that I first watched a year ago. I love the whole cast, love every performance. Love the script. I think it's a pretty good movie. La La Land, one of my favorite movies of all time. What can I say? A lot of people love this one. I love it too. Love Ryan Gosling, my favorite actor. Emma Stone, I think she is my favorite actress. I always go one or the other, but I think Emma Stone is my favorite actress. I love Damien Chazelle, as you guys know. So yeah, this one just does it all for me. And Manchester by the Sea, very emotional movie. I don't really go back to this one a lot, but I love the performances in it. The story doesn't work for me at times, but I think it's a very good film. But Moonlight, I don't think should have won. It wasn't my pick, but if it is your pick, I respect you. But my pick is La La Land for Best Picture. I think it's just one of the best films of all time, in my opinion. One of my favorites. I just adore it so much. 2018, I think, is one of the best years ever for Best Picture nominations. We had The Shape of Water, Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. The winner was The Shape of Water, and let me just say, I don't agree with this pick at all. I cannot believe this won. I watched this for the first time a couple months ago, and I think it's fine. It's a fine movie. It's not even close to Guillermo del Toro's best movie. I think Pacific Rim is even better than than The Shape of Water. I can't believe how this won Best Picture. It's a weird movie. It is weird. I'm just surprised that it won Best Picture. I don't care for the story. I don't care for the fish. I don't know why you're having sex with a fish. It's weird. Why are you having sex with a fish? It doesn't make any sense. But if you like it, you like it. But I just think it's such an odd movie. I don't care for the story. And it's not even like top 5 Guillermo del Toro in my opinion. I don't agree with this pick at all. Call Me By Your Name is a great film. I don't know why they didn't pick Call Me By Your Name. Call Me By Your Name is so good. Timothy Chalamet, I think that's one of his best performances in this movie. We're not going to talk about the other star because he is a weird guy and I just don't care for him. Darkest Hour, very good film. I'm happy it got nominated. Dunkirk, one of Christopher Nolan's best. I didn't like it that much on first watch. Second watch, so intense, and I loved it second watch. I think that this one, if you didn't like it first watch, you're going to love it second watch. It just takes a couple watches to really feel the story and feel kind of like the threat of everything, and I really just enjoyed it from a technical point too, because it's kind of a silent film for most of it, and it's so good. Get Out, though, one of my favorite films of all time. When I first watched it, I was stunned. One of my favorite horror films of all time. I cannot believe that this film got made. Jordan Peele. Can we get a round of applause for Jordan Peele getting to make this movie, making this movie? How did he make this movie? He's from a comedy background. He made this movie, and it's so different from what he's known for. Everyone was so surprised, made so much money. Crazy career that Jordan Peele's on right now. He's just killing it in the horror genre. Lady Bird, one of my favorite coming of age movies. I love Saoirse Ronan's performance in this. Greta Gerwig, she's just having a complete run right now, just like Jordan Peele. She just had Barbie make over $1 billion. This Lady Bird just really started it for her, and she did amazing for this movie. Phantom Thread, I'm gonna get a lot of hate, but I don't like Phantom Thread that much. I watched it once, and I just never really went back to it. I like the style of the movie, but I just don't care for how slow it is, the script and the story. I don't really care for Phantom Thread. If you like it, I think that's cool for you, but I just didn't really care for it. Maybe I'll watch it again down the line, but I just didn't really care for it. The Post, I'm surprised The Post got nominated because I don't think it's that great. And Three Billboards, it's an amazing film. I think that Martin McDonagh is a great filmmaker. I love his kind of direction and scripts that he goes for, and I just love all the performances in this one, and it works a lot for me. But The Shape of Water, I don't think should have won Best Picture. My pick for Best Picture for this year would have been Get Out. Jordan Peele just did an excellent job. Daniel Kaluuya, such an amazing film from a technical level, from a script, from a story. So good. It should have won. 2019 was a pretty divisive year. We had Green Book, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice. The only one I haven't seen was Roma. I don't really care to watch Roma, but you guys got to tell me if it's good. The winner was Green Book. Yeah, a pretty surprising pick from the Academy. I think it's a pretty easy pick for them because this is kind of their movie, just one of those movies for them to pick. But I don't really get the choice because you have 2 other amazing movies here, maybe 3 other amazing movies if you've seen them all. But I just don't get how Green Book was picked. I first watched this one a couple months ago. I think it's really good. I love the story a lot, love the performances. But it's just not a movie that I think is amazing. It's kind of, an Oscar baity movie in my opinion. I don't really like to say Oscar baity movies, but I think this one is kind of bait for the Academy. I don't understand how it won though. I think it's really good. A lot of people hate it, which is kind of funny, but I think it's good. Black Panther, happy that this got nominated for Best Picture. I think this is the only Marvel movie to get nominated for Best Picture. Rest in peace to Chadwick, such a cool film. This one swept up the nation when it first got released. I think this one made over $1 billion, maybe over 1.5. I'm not really sure on that final number, but such a cool film. I don't really love it as much as I used to because I feel like some of the CGI doesn't work for me. I think it's a little slow at times, but I still give it a 7 or 7.5. I think it's cool. Black Klansman, I just watched that for the first time 2 weeks ago. Stunned at how great that movie is. Spike Lee did a terrific job directing it. Such an interesting story. And Adam Driver and John David Washington were a perfect kind of pairing. Their chemistry worked a lot. And John David Washington, he's kind of having an interesting career right now because the creator didn't didn't do too well for him. But I thought he did a great job leading BlacKkKlansman with Adam Driver. You know, Adam Driver is also having an interesting career. He's just trying to go for Oscars, and his movies just aren't working. I think BlacKkKlansman was his last kind of amazing film that he's done. I forget what other films he's done before this. House of Gucci wasn't great. Ferrari is not getting great reviews. It's getting good reviews, but not great. But BlacKkKlansman, such a terrific movie. Bohemian Rhapsody, kind of an interesting nomination, but I will say I do defend the film. It's kind of a guilty pleasure for me, not gonna lie. I know a lot of people hate it. I hate the editing, but I do like the movie as a whole. I give it this one like a 7. The editing is atrocious. I don't know how it won for best editing, because you can throw in that clip where there's like so many edits in just like span of like 30 seconds. It's interesting how this won best editing. I don't know really how it happened, but you know, it's a big successful movie. It's now the second highest grossing biopic of all time. Oppenheimer did pass it, so congratulations to Oppenheimer. And The Favorite is our next one. The Favorite is such a crazy, interesting, technical film. Yorgos Lanthimos is slowly becoming one of my favorite filmmakers. I love this one every time I watch it. You know, the first watch a couple years ago when I watched it, I didn't like it at all. I gotta say, I didn't like it. But then I came back to it like 2 years ago, started to like it a little bit more. I rewatched it just this year to get ready for like Poor Things, and I loved it. It's so good. I love the technical like shots of it. I love the use of the fisheye. Fisheye lens is one of my favorites, and I think that Yorgos used it a lot in his films, and I think he uses it very well. The performances were amazing. Olivia Colman, Rachel Weisz, Emma Stone. So good. A Star is Born, a very emotional film. Bradley Cooper did an amazing job though. Lady Gaga, also amazing. Not one that I go back to too much, but I really do love the performances in this one. And Vice, I think Vice is very good, but you know, it's not one that I think is like really amazing like some other people. But Green Book, of course, shouldn't have won. Why is Green Book even picked for the winner of this one? My pick for Best Picture this year would have been The Favorite. I just love Yorgos so much. Hopefully he gets a Best Picture win soon. You know, Poor Things coming out. I think The Favorite should have won for this year. 2020 is one of the best years for the Oscars because it's films from 2019, one of my favorite years for cinema. The nominees for this year were Parasite, Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I have seen all of these, and our winner was Parasite. Parasite is such a phenomenal film. One of the best films of all time, in my opinion. I think everyone could maybe agree with this. Everyone I think who voted for this movie in the Academy, I think even could agree with this. You know, I've talked to many people. Everyone thinks this movie is just stunning. Bong Joon-ho, you know, I haven't seen all of his films. I've seen Snowpiercer. Really think that one's great too. But Parasite takes the cake. I think Parasite just lands on so many different levels. I love the story, love the themes of it. Script is insane. The ending blew me away when I first saw it. When I first saw it, I was just blown away by what this film does. The rewatchability is insane. Love it so much. I can't believe it won Best Picture because this isn't a movie that you'd think would win Best Picture, because sometimes the Academy doesn't like foreign films. But, you know, I think that this one is so amazing. I think they just had to pick it, and I'm happy it won. Ford v Ferrari is such a great film, such a great racing film. I don't go back to it as much as I used to, but I really do love all the racing scenes. The Irishman for Netflix was Martin Scorsese's 4-hour movie. Holy crap, I forget how long this one, but this one is 4 hours. Come on, Marty. This one doesn't have to be that long. Come on. 4 hours, you want to stick to 3.5, Marty. This one was 30 minutes too long for me. I wasn't really invested in the whole story, but you know, we gotta love the cast. Robert De Niro, he always brings in stellar performance. Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi's best movie in my opinion. I love the story. It's so heartbreaking though, especially that one scene where the shoes, oh, so heartbreaking, that movie. Joker, also a heartbreaking movie. A very divisive movie I've seen, because when the Rotten Tomatoes dropped when this first came out, it was like 50 or 60%, and I think it's still in that range, but very divisive for critics. But it made $1 billion. I think this was the first rated R movie to make $1 billion. So congrats to that movie. You know, it was a very intense first watch, and it's still intense every time you watch it. The score is astounding though. Joaquin Phoenix's best performance in my opinion. I really love it, and I'm happy that it got nominated for Best Picture. Little Women, Greta Gerwig back again. Another amazing film by her. I don't think she's made a bad film. Maybe her first film that I haven't seen is bad, but I haven't really watched that one because I never really found where to watch it, but I think all of her films are amazing. Marriage Story, Also, one that I never probably will go back to. I think this is one of Adam Driver's best performances. I still kind of like his BlacKkKlansman performance better because I think it's a little funnier. Marriage Story is a very good movie. 1917, such a good war movie. You know, I saw this one in theaters and I was blown away by like the fake, you know, kind of cuts. You're just like, there's no cuts in this one, but they're kind of hitting cuts, just like Birdman. Love those hitting cut movies, how they're built and how everything is laid out. Cinematography of this one was really great, especially the ending. You know, I love that ending. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino's back with Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. Brad Pitt got his supporting actor performance Oscar for this one, which is pretty cool. A lot of people don't love this one as much as me, but I give this one like a 9. I really love it. It's such a feel good, kind of just sit back, watch the movie. I think it's like 2.5 hours, but I just, you know, it just flies by for me. I love the like kind of feel of this movie, and the ending blew my mind. That ending was crazy with Brad Pitt versus like all the dogs and all that, everyone just like against all those people, kind of insane. But Parasite won Best Picture for this year, and my pick would have been Parasite also. I think it deserved the win, and it's a crazy film. Phenomenal. I can't believe it got made. 2021 was a very interesting and slow year for the Oscars because 2020 was the COVID year. You didn't have a lot of films. But our nominees were Nomadland, The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of Chicago 7. I haven't seen Mank, so I mean, I'll probably watch Mank soon, but I haven't seen it yet. I've heard divisive things about it, so I probably wouldn't have picked it anyway. Nomadland, I also haven't seen, you know, so I can't really say, but I would say that I don't think it should have won because I don't think I'm going to like it. I've heard it's very slow paced and just kind of like a interesting movie, I know in some aspects, but I think it's also pretty weird. I've heard people say, but I don't think it should have won, even though I haven't seen it. I know that's weird to say, but I just have 2 other movies on here that I think are amazing movies, and I just love them. The Father, great movie, very emotional, love the performances. I don't think it should have won, though. You know, I have some other movies. Judas and the Black Messiah, also great. I think it's an 8. Minari, I also watched that one for the first time. Also a great movie. I have a lot of 8s on this kind of list because The Father, Judas, and Minari, I gave them all an 8 out of 10. I think they're really great. Promising Young Woman, I also give it 8. Even though I don't watch this one a lot, I think that it just falls apart in the third act. The first and second act are so strong. Falls apart. I can't wait for Emerald Fennell's next film, Saltburn. I hope it's really great. I hope she sticks the landing. The reviews have been really good, but I think Promising Young Woman falls apart, even though I love the performances by Carey Mulligan. I think she's awesome. Sound of Metal, though, and Trial of Chicago 7, they're fighting for that win for me, because Sound of Metal was a very emotional film. You know, it's such an interesting film, and Amazon Prime also made it. If you haven't seen it, I'd give it a watch. I just love how that movie's made. I love the story. Trial of Chicago 7 is also another amazing film, in my opinion. I love these kind of courtroom dramas. Some people don't like this one as much as me. I've learned, like when I look at reviews on Letterboxd, but I really do love this cast. You have an all-star cast in this one, some amazing performances. So it's kind of between Sound of Metal and the Trial of Chicago 7 for me. I can hardly say the name. What is wrong with me? But I think Sound of Metal should have won Best Picture for this year. I think it's a very interesting film. I love the performances, especially from Riz Ahmed. He did great. I think it should have won. 2022 was also kind of a divisive year for the Best Picture winner. We had Coda, Belfast, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. This was when we were kind of getting back to, you know, kind of like normal theaters. You know, theaters were opening up kind of in the summer, and we're kind of getting more movies than we were the year prior. And Coda won Best Picture for this year. Pretty interesting film. I think it's pretty good. I think I gave it like a 7. I love the story, love the sign language kind of story. But, you know, I don't think it should have won. I think there's some other great choices in here, some better choices. But I get why Coda won. You know, we haven't really seen like a movie like this with this kind of story win, you know, kind of like these awards. I respect their choice for this one. I really do like the movie a lot. Belfast is one I haven't seen yet, but that's been on my list for so long. I just haven't like got into it. Don't Look Up is one that I rewatched recently, and I just love it every time I watch it. It's so crazy. This one is so divisive too, but Netflix really got a hit on their hands. I think this was one of Netflix's most watched movies of all time when it first launched. Adam McKay, he brings some interesting movies, and I really do love his scripts and his direction in all of his movies. I love Leonardo DiCaprio's performance in this. So funny. Just like The Wolf of Wall Street, he gave a stellar performance. I really did enjoy this one a lot. Drive My Car, I also haven't seen that one yet. Dune is one of my favorite films of all time. My favorite Denis Villeneuve movie of all time. When I first watched it, it's such an interesting story. When I first watched it in the theater, saw an IMAX opening night, I didn't know what to think. I was like stunned, kind of like blown away by like what I saw visually, technically. But the story, I was like, I don't really know if I like the story because I didn't understand it. That's the thing. I didn't understand it, but I saw it again the next day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of getting to understand this. I watched more videos on it, ending explain kind of things, and I'm like, this is kind of a masterpiece. I can't believe they made this. It's crazy. I haven't seen the original Dune movie, but I don't know. I don't think it's as good as this one probably, but this is insane. Denis Villeneuve just upped his game with every science fiction movie he makes. I think Denis Villeneuve is kind of like a master of science fiction films. It's crazy. Dune Part 2, we gotta wait because the studios won't pay their actors. It's kind of ridiculous. We gotta wait, and it's gonna be in a packed March now. It's ridiculous. But Dune 1, one of my favorites. It's so good. Timothée Chalamet, all-star cast in this one. Holy crap. I saw this one like 5 times in theaters. It was so good. I mean, because it was like the only amazing movie out at that time, and on IMAX it was just insane. I loved it so much. I wish we got the IMAX ratio on home video. That would have been really cool. I don't know why they didn't do that, because the IMAX ratio in theaters was absolutely insane. I also read the whole book this summer in 1 week. I've never done that before with a book. I did it with Dune though, because a stellar book. I cannot wait for Dune Part 2, what Denis Villeneuve does with it. But King Richard, on to next. I think King Richard's a great film, but I think it kind of got tarnished for me when Will Smith had his famous Oscar moment this year with the slap. Kind of insane moment, one of the most famous moments. I don't know how to feel about King Richard anymore. I don't really watch it anymore. I do like Will Smith still, but I feel like he, damaged his reputation with that slap. I don't like to talk about it too much, but we're talking about the year that it happened, so I have to talk about it. I think it's such a, it's a very damaging moment. It's going to be hard for him to come back. But I think that some people will forget, but I think it is something that still sticks with me when I watch a Will Smith movie. When I see him, every time I see him, it's something that's just going to come up. So you got to just talk about it. Licorice Pizza is one I liked a decent bit, but I haven't gone back to it. I wish I have, but I don't think the story really lands with me anymore like it used to. Nightmare Alley, Guillermo del Toro. I think this one is better than Shape of Water. Suck it. It is better than Shape of Water. But I think it's great. Love the performances. I think the script fails a little bit, especially the third act. But I still think it's great. I love it so much. The Power of the Dog. A lot of people think this one's very boring. But I really come around to this one. I watched it again not too long ago. I think it moves at a pretty brisk pace. I love the performances. I think it's one of Benedict Cumberbatch's best performance. Up there with The Imitation Game. I think Imitation Game is his best performance, but I think this one comes in second. Jesse Plemons. I love Jesse Plemons. Come on, Jesse Plemons is so cool in this, and the direction is really awesome. West Side Story, the remake by Steven Spielberg. I was blown away when I first saw this in theaters. I still haven't seen the original, but when I first saw this remake in theaters, I wasn't really anticipating it because I wasn't really a big fan of musicals, but I can't believe this movie is so beautiful to look at. I loved every scene. The cinematography, excellent. I think it is a little bit too long for me, though. I think it could have been cut down like 15-20 minutes, but Rachel Zegler gave an amazing performance here. I just loved her voice in this one, loved her acting in this one. But Coda was the winner for Best Picture in 2022. I don't think it should have won. My pick would have been Dune. Dune. I love Dune. One of the best science fiction movies of all time, in my opinion. Visually insane. Story's up there, and the acting's up there. Direction was so good. Denis Villeneuve got snubbed for director, but I think Dune should have won Best Picture. Now we're on to 2023, our last year that we're going to talk about. The nominees were Everything Everywhere All at Once, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. The winner was Everything Everywhere All at Once. I had a hard time deciding if I think this one should have won or not, but I don't think it should have won. I think that this movie is amazing, phenomenal, I could say. I give it a 5 out of 5. I really loved it. It was such an interesting movie when I watched it the first time because I didn't really understand what was going on, because it's like one of those multiverse movies. You gotta watch it like 2 or 3 times. Saw it the second time and I was like, oh yeah, this one's a real player and it deserves all the awards. But it's not my personal pick for Best Picture. I do have one that I like just a little bit more. All Quiet on the Western Front. Such a great film. Netflix got another hit on their hands for this one. Avatar: The Way of Water. I think it was one of my favorite theater experiences of all time, because seeing in IMAX was just insane. James Cameron is the master of spectacle movies. It's kind of crazy how he does it. And a lot of people hate the first Avatar. A lot of people hate the second one, but I love them both. I just love science fiction movies. I love the visual experience of them. I think the stories are quite simple, but I really love the family element of them, and I can't wait to see the next 3 whenever we're gonna get them. The Banshees of Inisherin, though, it's so profound. That movie made me cry when I first saw it in 2022. I can't believe it. That was my favorite movie of the year of 2022. So amazing. Martin McDonagh, I think, just gets better every time he makes a film. Elvis, I was surprised it got nominated for Best Picture, but Baz Luhrmann, I think it is his best film, but I still give it an 8. I don't think it's like a 9 or 10 out of 10. The editing is crazy. I think it's a little too long for me. If it was like 45 minutes shorter, it probably would have been like an amazing film. The Fablemans, I thought it was amazing. Love the whole story element with Steven Spielberg and his family. Tar is one that I did not like, sadly. I saw a lot of people loving this one. I even see people still loving it, but I just don't care for it. It's really slow for me, and I just don't care for the story in that one, so I wish I would have liked it, but I didn't like it. Top Gun Maverick, I love this movie, one of my favorites of last year, so damn good. Also, a killer theater experience to start the summer, so good. Everyone went and saw this one, made so much money. Triangle of Sadness, I was happy this got nominated because it was a very underrated film last year. I loved it a lot. And Women Talking, I'm never going to rewatch this one again because it's not one that I'm going to rewatch again, but I think it had a fabulous and amazing script, really great cast in this one, but I don't think I'm ever going to rewatch this one again. But the winner was Everything Ever All at Once, but that wasn't my pick. My pick was The Banshees of Inisherin. It's very close between those two. You could pick either one, that would be fine with it. But Banshees just hit me really hard, especially those scenes with Colin Farrell. I wish he would have won the Best Actor Oscar, but he didn't. But I think Banshees should have won. That just is such an epic, kind of visceral movie for me. The script really hit me hard every single moment. But, if you pick Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's fine. I love that movie too. But those are my picks for the better choice for Best Picture. I only really kept one of them, and that was Parasite, which is kind of interesting. Look at how many of these movies that I have changed for Best Picture. But I think Parasite just was one of those that I couldn't have changed. But leave your picks for the better choice down below in the comments. Make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. I upload almost every day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.